Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics slash Non-Classics. This is episode number 852 and Doubleshot number 746. I got two Marvel trades for you. First one, I've never reviewed any trade for this particular character, but this is the first one I'm going to review because, well, I thought it at all age, so I figured, oh, why not get it? I like this character. He's my first favorite. He was created by the late Stan Lee and the late Jack the King Kirby, and that is the Silver Surfer. Yep, Silver Surfer Volume 1, collecting Silver Surfer Volume 6. No, Volume 7. Yeah, this is 7. Despite the fact, for some reason, Marvel Wicca includes that two-issue miniseries published back in '89 as Volume 3, even though it's not. Oh no, it's not. They count this as Volume 7, even though technically they count this as Volume 8 for some reason, even though it's actually Volume 7. Really weird. This collects the first 5 issues plus their material plus the short story from All New Marvel Now, Point 1, written by Dan Slott and artwork by Mike Aldred. Fun thing about this particular title, over the past few years we've had titles where they change writers, sometimes there's no reason, or they have the same writer but had different artists the whole period of time. This is one of the very few books Marvel published in the past 6 years where it's the same creative team. There's no change of artist at all. Yes, Dan Slott writes every single issue, and Mike Aldridge draws every single issue. This volume got unexpectedly cut off after 13 issues due to Secret Wars relaunch number 1, and then it got canceled at issue 15. Though, here's kind of the weird thing about this particular series. Apparently, Dan Slott did promote the series a couple times in Amazing Spider-Man, but I never saw that promotion. I'm not sure. I don't remember what book it was. Oh, and by the way, did Silver Surfer pop up in any other book during a period of time when he had this ongoing series? Yes, he popped up once in an issue of Guardians Team Up, which is by far the only time that the character Dawn Greenwood, who is a new character by the way, she's only in this particular book, and she appears in that one issue of Guardians Team. I think it was issue number 5 or 6. I think it was with Silver Surfer team up with, I think it was Rocket. I think it was, yeah, where it was Rocket and Groot, and it was the first and by far only time Dawn Greenwood has appeared in a comic where she's not drawn by Mike Aldred. Yeah, people have described Mike Aldred's artwork as retro. I describe it as a drug-induced hallucination. Yeah, his artwork is very bizarre. Okay, what's the story for these issues? Okay, Silver Surfer is doing his normal thing, just protecting planets. And as for Dawn Granger, she is the daughter of an innkeeper in Maine, of all things. She's abducted by aliens, and of course he runs into... We also get introduced to the Never Queen. Yeah, she becomes sort of a minor recurring character. She pops up after these issues. She pops up like a couple times after this. Yeah, well, the story for her is that Silver Surfer, she has Silver Surfer find missing heart, and he does. And there's also an encounter with Defenders, even the Guardians of the Galaxy pop up in here, though the Bendis version, mind you. Yeah, we have Star-Lord, Drax, Gamora, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and Captain Marvel. Even Venom shows up in here. Yeah, it's the lineup he had, like, as far as I remember, it was just after Guardians Disassembled. This was the lineup post Guardians Disassembled. It's the lineup that this particular that Bendis' run had. In case you're wondering, what does Captain Marvel look like under Mike Aldred's artwork? That is what she looks like. She doesn't look that much different. She looks perfectly fine. Heck, Rocket Raccoon looks really good as well. And I gotta say, I do agree with the opinion that Mike Aldred's artwork works for Silver Surfer. Recently, his most recent book he worked on the Bug miniseries last year from DC, when DC was basically celebrating Jack Kirby's 100th birthday. Excuse me. Did Marvel ever celebrate? Did Marvel do that celebration last year? Nope. They never did. Their biggest basically middle finger to Jack Kirby was making one of his most beloved creations a Hydra agent. Yes. I'm sure that ticked off Jack Kirby's family really well. Yeah, I'm sure they got angry at Nick Spencer for turning a character that Jack Kirby created back in the 40s into a Hydra agent. Yeah, it was stupid. Silver Surfer is not one of his. Silver Surfer is a big no creation. For comic fans, they know who Silver Surfer is. Non-comic fans only know him as the guy who showed up in Fantastic Four Rise Silver Surfer, played by Doug Jones, voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah, it was particularly very weird. Yeah, and by the way, Silver Surfer is actually one of the very few good things about Silver Surfer Rise the Silver Surfer, because he actually looked like the Silver Surfer, and he acted like him. And there's nothing to say about the purple cloud they claim to be Galactus. Yeah. Oh, by the way, does Galactus show up in these issues? No, but he does show up in the following arc. That he does. Yeah, he returns to Earth, runs to the Guardians, return to Earth, and of course they mentioned something about the Great Barrier. That was something that was established back in the late 60s when he first showed up. Yeah, Silver Surfer was trapped on Earth for 10 years. That was indeed true. Oh, and he knows all the pop culture references, which, okay, that's actually quite nice. It's also a bit awkward the way the Hulk was written in here. Yes. Where he's written to be almost kind of like the way he was written back in the 60s, where he speaks normally, and not like Hulk this, Hulk that. This is speaking third person. My guess is Slott realized that Hulk should not talk that way. He should talk normally, not talk in the third person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and despite the fact at the time these issues came out, Hulk was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. As for why he was working with Doctor Strange in the storyline, no idea. One of his a handful of appearances he made outside of his own title. Yeah, the only book he appeared in this period of time was he appeared in the pages of Secret Avengers. And I think, yeah, he also appeared in that crossover between Superior Spider-Man Team Up, All New Inhuman, the Inhuman special. Yeah, the Arms Dr. Octopus crossover. Yeah, he should have for that one as well. Actually, no, it was not Inhumans. It was All New X-Men special. Yeah. The story was actually pretty good. I love what Mike Aldridge did with the Silver Surfer. He looks really good on this artwork. Heck, he even does the whole Silver Down thing. That was actually something that was established by another writer, which I'm glad Slott remembered to put that in here. Yep. Yeah, that was established in the previous one with Silver Surfer that came out about a year prior to the series. Yeah, my guess is the reason why this ongoing series was published is because the Silver Surfer miniseries that came before this was a big financial success for Marvel. So that's the reason why they launched the ongoing series. But here's something really, really weird. I'm going to give this book 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. When Silver Surfer acknowledged his 200th issue, for some strange reason, the volume that came just before this one was not counted part of the numbering. I have no idea why in the world Slott did this for. You acknowledge that volume happened, and of course the whole Silver Down thing, but you don't count the book as part of numbering? Why? Because it's a miniseries? You included Volume 2, which was a frickin' one-shot, and you don't include Volume 6? Yeah, that honestly made no damn sense when it hit 200. This is like about 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, about 2 years ago that this happened. Though I think the 200 issue is actually the final issue of this volume, not the 5th issue of the next volume. Alright, moving on from Silver Surfer to another character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and that is Hawkeye, Avenging Archer. This pretty much collects every single solo miniseries that Hawkeye had from 2008. Everything related solo related to Hawkeye from 2008 to 2011. This is before its ongoing series by Matt Fraction and David Hodge. This collects New Avengers of Reunion, which is a 4-issue miniseries. All 6 issues of Hawkeye and Mockingbird. The Widowmaker 4-issue miniseries. Hawkeye and Blind Spot 4-issue miniseries. Hawkeye and Mockingbird sketchbook. Material from Dark Reign, Nation number 1. Into Heroic Age number 1. Yep. Now, in the case of these particular stories, now, New Avengers of Reunion is the only one he does not technically appear as Hawkeye. Nope. This one he appears as Ronin. Yeah, that was during a period of time for a few years where he was Ronin. excuse me, yeah, the new Dark Reign New Nation story and New Avengers Reunion. That's written by Jim McCann, and the artwork is by David Lopez. The Inter-Heroic Age short story and the Hawkeye Mockingbird miniseries, that is written by Jim McCann and David Lopez. Same people. Widowmaker, now Jim McCann also does the Widowmaker miniseries. He writes the first and third issue of the series, and he also writes Hawkeye Blind Spot. He does pretty much the majority of the stuff in here. Dwayne Straczynski, he does issues 2 and 4, and Miguel Garcia does issues 2 through 4. 2 and 4 of Widowmaker. Well, Dave Lopez does pretty much the artwork for issues 1 and 3. The Blind Spot miniseries, the artwork in there is done by at least several different artists. You have the modern day stuff is by Paco Diaz. Issue 2, the flashbacks now by Nick Dorgada. And of course, issue 3 is done by Valentin Denari and Lee Weeks. Great artist. Yep. The cover art for Widowmaker, that's done by Jim Lee and Jen Chung. The first of which is Phil Noto, issues 3 to 4. The cover art for the Hawkeye Mockingbird series, that's in Heroic Age, that is done by Brian Hitch, Carl Kitzler, and Paul Montes. Paul Renda does the cover art for Hawkeye Mockingbird. Daniel Kuna does Dark Reign New Nation. He does the cover for that. Joe Chan does New Avengers The Reunion. The cover art for Hawkeye Blind, so that's done by Mike Perkins with Mario Howe in issues 2 through the first 2 issues, and John Wrenchett in issues 2 through 4. New Avengers of Reunion is simply put what Hawkeye and Mockingbird were doing after the events of Secret Invasion. Though the whole point of this miniseries was to set up the Hawkeye and Mockingbird series, which came the following year. Yeah, they had pretty much now they revealed some stuff related to their marriage in here, where it was revealed, I think it's in issue 2, where Mockingbird did sign the papers and they're officially divorced. Though by the end of the miniseries, they're actually dating again. This relationship ends at the end of the penultimate issue of the Hawkeye Mockingbird ongoing series. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, and also it sets what does this thing set up aside from their dating relationship? It sets up the spy stuff that the Hawkeye Mockingbird series would do, which is the WCA, the World Counterterrorism Agency, which I have heard these initials are actually named after the West Coast Avengers. And in New Avengers, they actually visit, believe it or not, the West Coast Avengers compound, which is still in ruins. Yeah, it was in ruins up until 2011. When it was bought by Hank Pym and turned to a new location for Avengers Academy, which is still there to this very day, despite the fact Marvel's done nothing with Avengers Academy since 2013. Yep. The Hawkeye Mockingbird series is, of course, more dealing with their relationship, more spy stuff for the two of them, and plus also encountering another Phantom Rider. And the Phantom Rider in this character is the descendant of the man who Mockingbird killed back in the West Coast Avengers series. How did she kill him? By not saving him from falling off a cliff. I'm not kidding. And why did she do this? Because he drugged and raped her. I am not kidding. That is seriously what he did to this woman. And apparently, her lying about what happened with that apparently ended their marriage. Yeah, here's something also really weird is revealed here. The reasoning how they got married. They got married like 9 days after they met. They never dated, they just, let's just get married. After knowing each other for 9 days. And then they started the whole dating thing. The Hawkeye Mockingbird series also introduces Mockingbird's mother and her brother. Though her mother gets knocked in the hospital, and her brother basically wants nothing to do with her, despite because he lied to her. Yeah, and of course, she was upset with Clint to bring her mother to her, because her mother thought she was dead for 8 years. I'm like, seriously, woman, why in the world would you claim you're dead? That honestly I get the fact it's a spy business, fine. Why would you claim you're dead to your own family? That makes no sense at all. That's Nick Fury for you. Now, here's something interesting though about the Widowmaker miniseries. I've got to point this out though. Now, originally Hawkeye and Mockingbird was supposed to have 2 more issues. It was supposed to have a 7th and 8th issue, though those were changed into a couple issues of Widowmaker. And see, Widowmaker is a cross between Hawkeye, Mockingbird, and Black Widow. Yes. Black Widow was supposed to have 2 more issues. Supposed to have a 9th and 10th issue, but they changed the Widowmaker miniseries, which did bring about another Ronin. Who was this Ronin? They don't reveal this until the final issue. The person who this is actually the 3rd Ronin, by the way. The 3rd Ronin is actually the original Red Guardian, Alex Savosky, I think his name is. He's Black Widow's ex-husband, who gets basically put into hospital, and of course, just prior to this miniseries, Hawkeye and Mockingbird broke up. They did. Hawkeye Blind Spot is simply what's going on with Hawkeye after the events of the series. And also, they introduce a sort of a accessory that he still kind of has this very day. What is that? The glasses. Yes. He still actually has these glasses. Yeah, the reason why he got them was because, well, he was going blind. Yeah, and the main villain of the second miniseries, was in fact Baron Zemo. Also was revealed in this miniseries that the writer decided to retcon the death of Barney Barton. Yeah, he retconned his death. You see, originally when he made his debut back, I think it was like Avengers 59, where he actually died saving Clint. Oh yeah, and apparently preventing Clint going blind was going giant size. Because apparently he still had pin particles in his body, despite the fact he had not used it since the late early 90s. Yeah, he has not used it since the end of West Coast Avengers. I am not kidding about this. Yeah, when he used it in his miniseries, which came out in 2011, mind you, it been good almost 20 years since he last used it. As for why in the world he waited until now, but yeah, it's also revealed that he was going blind. That's the whole blind spot thing. And also they killed off one of his mentors in the Hawkeye Blind Spot miniseries. Yeah, Barney killed his mentor Trickshot, which he took the name Trickshot. It's kind of altered the name of it, but kind of spaced the word out a bit. But yeah, he became new Trickshot, which he was still called that as of his most recent appearance, which was 2 years ago. Yeah. All the stuff in here of Lay the Hawkeye is really good. If you're interested though about Hawkeye's all the solo stuff that he had from 2008 to 2011, like right between Secret Invasion up until he got his until he got his ongoing series in 2012, this is a great trade for you. Yeah, even though it's $35, I got this for like $8 at Ollie's. Yeah, great price for it, but it's worth your money because it's really damn good. And it's thick too. It's really, really thick. Yep. So that's all this trade is simply collecting like all the Hawkeye solo stuff from 2008 to 2011. And they're all really good series. Just too bad though. Now I think that the reason why that they actually canceled Hawkeye and Mockingbird after 6 issues, and here's my theory of the reason why it is. Well, from what I've heard, it was canceled due to low sales. So they had initially planned to do an issue 7 and 8, but they decided to make that into the Widowmaker miniseries along with the issues 9 and 10 of Black Widow Volume 4. Yeah, they took those scripts and sort of changed the name to the Widowmaker miniseries. Excuse me. Which felt like, even though it was a crossover between the Hawkeye Mockingbird and the Black Widow series, it felt more like a Hawkeye Mockingbird crossover story guest starring Black Widow. Why not? Hawkeye's hanging out with two ex-girlfriends of his just to save the world, which is great. Great stuff. I get this book roughly a 9.5. It's really, really good. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. I would do another review, but it's at 11 o'clock. That means no more reviews, but at least I'm glad I got one video done today. So tomorrow, probably a lot of videos, yeah. So I got another comic corner I want to do tomorrow, a couple manga reviews, 3 anime reviews. So basically, get about 5 or 6 videos I want to do tomorrow. But yeah, because of the time, I can't do any more tonight. Okay. But to see, oh, and also they had in Hawkeye Blind Spot miniseries, they had Captain America, well, Steve Rogers. Bucky shows up when just during the time Bucky was Captain America, and of course they have Steve Rogers when he's known as Commander Rogers. Yeah, he was only like this for like a good year, and then after Fear itself, he went back to being Captain America. Now, as for why, no idea why. I have to ask Brubaker that. I'm sure he probably didn't like the fact that after all the time he spent developing Bucky as Captain America, Marvel just threw that away and made Steve Captain America again for seemingly for like no reason at all. At least Iron Man didn't change. Nope. Yeah. Oh yeah, they also make a reference to Kate Bishop in the New Avengers Reunion series. Yep, they make a reference to her, which I think it's great the fact they reference her. And that it was some. I think that was something. I think that was said by him, just explored in their Hawkeye book, which of course Kate Bishop showed up in anyways. Okay, but that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for tomorrow for my next review, which I'm going to cover a Wolverine trade and a Spider-Man trade. You'll find out what they are in my next review. Okay, but see you there. Bye.